It can be easy if they give you the room, then yeah.
Okay.
God.
We thought Kayak would be the solo Sage player. Now, you were a fan of the Sage on Icebox.
Yeah.
Petra, are you a fan of the Sage on Split?
No, not really. No.
It's a bit 2021, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what they do with this double Sentinel setup. You know, we were talking about double Sentinel going up against the double Duelist on the previous map, but now that actually flips round, right? We have Team Liquid running that double Duelist and sticking with what they know, but BBL looks to have done their homework, right? Coming into this, switching up and playing that double Sentinel instead. I mean, I can't wait to see what kind of traps that they have set up, right? This is such a trap-heavy map. We look at all the different choke points that they'll be able to have those micro plays set up. I'm interested to see how they utilize that Deadlock in Sage.
Yeah, Magnum never played Deadlock before. Sociable barely ever plays Sage, but this is what they got. Pansy and Hypok, is it going to be enough to dig them out of this hole?
Well, I quite like what Petra said there. No, I don't like Sage. Okay, the proof is in the pudding, right? The proof's there.
I mean, if there was anything to reinforce the statement that BBL constantly trying to reinvent themselves, this is definitely something that leans towards that. Again, it kind of highlights the prep that went into the FUT series, or at least I guess that match in particular. Here is just to throw a complete spanner in the works. Obviously, lots of set pieces possible between Magnum and Sociable here. We'll have to see. I mean, this is basically bolstering towards a very strong defensive half. They're starting on defense, and I mean, what was it 10-2 in the first half versus FUT?
Counting's difficult, and remembering's even harder. So I'll say yes. Well, Michael, let's see how it goes, shall we? BBL have been in the kitchen cooking up something brand new. As Team Liquid have been prolific on this map. On the attacking side, let's see how they handle it. Ready? You can see what Liquid are eyeing up here.
Hello. Because if they want to entertain the idea themselves, stun will come through, slow things down. BBL actually proactively clearing with the boom bot here. Not necessarily figure anything out on the back of that. But again, these early rounds look towards Liquid trying to figure out some of these setups. I mean, how early do BBL want to show their hand in that regard?
It's a wall. It has now been removed.
This is a thing as well, when an agent isn't played very often, you're really testing with the timing of those protocols and when parts of the map will open up.
So far, you're going to have this 3-2 split for the defending side here. Team Liquid have been spotted. Sociable is going to be under pressure up towards Heaven now. I don't know if he can really get away here. Maybe banking on the utility coming out from Yampy, but this is going to be tough. Liquid trying to make this home, or this site their home, as Sociable should be considered, but Yampy takes head off one. Lovely little synergy there. Good chip damage too towards Serial. Isolated fight on Kiko. Lovely little back and forth from BBL. But Panatek's still alive. This man is deadly. And he's got a 1v2. He's got 14 seconds though, really tough here. Gotta find a fair fight. There's Magnum giving it. Oh, lovely from Magnum. A little bit of a fadeaway on the end of that, but BBL, I love that synergy there. That was a lovely back and forth between the two.
Even on the back of actually the fault line going completely wide. I think as well, because Sociable catches the first cross, I think, and there's a little bit of hesitation, potentially maybe thinking it's one player lurking in.
Yeah.
At that point, you've got to think Sociable's the one that's, you know, dead to rights. Going to be chased down, but...
Nice! Let's go!
I still think Yampy has one of the best land devices.
Yeah.
That's the experience there. That's a veteran. For Liquid, though, I think it is going to be that learning process, right? And also the second half of things, too. Bringing all of this onto that attacking side eventually will be most curious. But for now, we look to see how this kind of affects the next couple of rounds. Camo has managed to navigate past a lot of that early utility, and what a banging shot. But 11, there's that combination, right? That's what we were looking at, this composition with the trips, the traps, everything thrown down with that paint shell on top. Camo, yes, he hit a great shot. I doubt he's going to get more. That is one of the really strong points of this comp. I'd love to see that back. Sorry, EVS, I keep putting you on the spot. But again, this was something the desk was kind of talking about here.
Again, there's those sort of set pieces that, again, BBL, depending on how many of them they've got in their back pocket. Liquid early on, I mean, the choke points just become deadly. If you can't draw out some of this utility on the side of BBL.
Banging.
Walking into the blender. especially with the way some of these rounds play out on split traditionally.
Now we get into the fun part though, right? This is where... Sociable, I quite like that. Take a couple of risks in this round. You're on the bonus, you got your SMGs, why not have a little bit of a go on things? Nats is there just chipping down at this wall. Does need to be conscious of obviously these angles and these newer positions that could become available. Obviously with the utility in middle being put into play, does slow down the approach from Liquid, and it slows down the entire game plan, really.
It does, yeah. Doubling up.
Paint shell.
Oh!
Net just missing there.
Can't see a Nats. Going to potentially catch a timing here, but in mid. Trade-off. And then Camo will fall, and Sociable has been found on the back of the wall dropping.
Sociable's going to have a tough time dealing with Nats. He's such a diligent player in these solo efforts. Magnum as well only has a ghost here, so should be outgunned. My word, Magnum, very nice, and he knows Nats is nearby. Just missed the timing. He wanted to get up on that box, maybe get a slightly different angle, but Yampy trying to fill the void. But it is a 2v3. Now, obviously, we know all these players are heading over towards A now. Support coming in from Profek, but Liquid facilitating the cross.
It won't land. Yeah, now it gets a little awkward when you're locked out, but actually, a spike here.
Okay, that's a mad one, because that's 15 seconds. It removes a player away, so it almost encourages you to work forward. Nats is unaware! Completely unaware! And now it's on Serial. A little bit shaky in the first, an upgraded weapon there for Profek 2. Let's see if he can hold his nerve this time. A big opportunity, big timing, and a big kill. The 1v1, it's Yampy on the other side, and Serial closing the net here, closing the gap, and Yampy chose wrong. Simply put, Serial now has the upper hand. It's a shot in the dark, and it's a clean shot from Serial. Well controlled in the end, but a dangerous round nevertheless.
Absolutely, BBL almost disrespecting the smoke there. Nats just not expecting anybody to push through.
Poison's off.
Sponging the decay.
Hello.
You're right, I think as well, if Sociable is going to be tasked with just, you know, one bit, and again, traditionally, you do see a Sage to lock down this A main early on and proactivity elsewhere, which is what we see in this round.
Incredible, Michael.
And it feels like Nats is aware of map 1, right? He's not a silly guy. And it feels like you've got to be ready to follow Nats straight into hell and back. And if he can get these players feeling on the same page, feeling confident, that is a huge boon for the Liquid side.
Straight away, see Sociable adjusting towards mid. Ooh. Flash through to try and isolate Nats. So another snake bite, forced him a little deeper here. Levin almost looking as if he wants to continue. Actually wins out here, so Nats dropped very early on in this round. Liquid not necessarily in a position to spring off the back of that.
Well, I think they know where Sociable is. Nasty little wall though, because there is a player obviously over on the catwalk, right, which was Yampy, so kind of a complementary angle. As much as they'd love to clear Sociable, there's still layers to this. This seems very heads up. I've got to say, it feels like BBL have come in very prepared for this, kind of understanding the protocols that Liquid like to run here, and Yampy has been having a belter of a first half already. Only into round 4 here, 11 gonna go absolutely nuclear on that. In zone flawless. And this feels like a very strong read, Mike. We know that Nats likes that solo pressure towards A or his mid lurks. They identify it early. They even put, who was it, to the test? Their Levin, right? Left him out there in that 1v1. Here it is again. Set up by Yampy a little earlier, but still, and then so prepared for that mid pressure coming in off the back.
There's so many ratty little spots that BBL can reset back to after initial aggression being shown. That's where some of these trap plays, the utility can be really overwhelming. Like I said, it requires a lot from Liquid in terms of footwork early on. And the key things being the paint shell being drawn out, the wall. Like I said, this first stretch of rounds probably going to be the most punishing for Liquid in terms of lessons to learn.
And I guess I like the idea of the pressure this puts on Liquid to show us a little bit of that mid-rounding, that learning on the fly, their ability to decipher some of those weak points. Did Yampy see someone there? I feel like he did, because Levin's very locked in on this. Yeah, definitely spotted. And Yampi's gone a bit more confident, to say the least. Serial in the 1v1 now, and Yampi correctly not wanting to outstay his welcome. He's just controlling this area. And Serial might be screwed here, trying to stay alive, but Magnum wants him dead, yeah. This is very diligent from BBL
Very
again.
decisive as well.
And I like that confidence, kind of taking the, I guess just taking that confident approach to things, not allowing that comfort on the kind of single side of things. Profek gonna have to back away from this. Gets a little bit scary on the side, because they are very close by. That is a recovered weapon, I'm pretty sure. Yampi's here, don't worry. He's all good, he's farming it up, 11 to close out. So now we start looking at Liquid. Can they problem solve quick enough?
This has got to be a bar. They have to hit almost here. If BBL are leaning more so towards making this a successful defensive half, yeah, could argue we're already 2 in here. Yampi leading the charge from the top, 10 and 2, 11 at 8 and 1 as well. Both now with their ultimates in play. Magnum one away. Liquid do have a couple of their own. This looks like, again, some aggression here on the back of the showstopper. Off rip here. Does he get spotted? He doesn't! He's not cleared in the corner.
Oh, that's a fumble. And a big chance here for Liquid to actually get really on the board properly in these gun rounds, but Profek's there quickly picking up the pieces. It's not a solo endeavor.
Camo gets ahead of the wall. Still, they get through the wall and look what's in front of them as well. More utility. And the concern being if this isn't cleared early on, so BBL can just kind of sit back, rely on some of these deeper positions. Reset here from Liquid towards mid. Magnum did retrieve the orb, so ultimate now available. Oh, say, Profek, you don't want to see him get too overzealous here. Stun will come through, potentially setting Social in motion. He's going to find Camo.
Yampi is being such a savior, even from the back lines. And look at this delay, look at this stall. Yampi knows exactly what he needs to do, but they're looking for other options, and Magnum's now aware. Potentially catching Nats here. Oh my god, how did it not?
How did it not?
I don't know how he's gone away with that.
30 seconds.
Somehow, still standing, but Yampi spotted 2. That should be big info for Magnum here, but he looks shaky on the aim, and Liquid need to get moving. They want to get across the site, but Magnum ready, waiting. Yampi on the catch. BBL quick, thinking on their feet there. It got deadly.
But now almost in a financial chokehold. Oh yeah, just
Luminek.
another step forward and he would have full cleared that, but when that timer runs low, you're almost desperate to just get it somewhere. But yeah, the stall is insane. Fault line comes through, the slow orb comes down from Sociable, Rolling Thunder behind that. Liquid probably left really scratching their heads here, what BBL have pulled out.
God, this is such a conundrum for Liquid to figure out. And again, a lot of us were waiting to see if a team could punish Liquid here. This has been a stronghold for them for some time.
Yeah, absolutely.
A cornerstone for them, and they play it beautifully. I mean, there's nothing too cheesy or quirky about it necessarily. They just play a good split, right? And it looks like BBL have identified a lot of those strong suits, a lot of what makes them tick here. And the punish has been pretty profound. Also, got to say, Yampi's having an absolute tear of a start. Now, yes, it is in the kill department too, 11 to 2 early on. However, we saw that supporting utility coming in. That felt like that round could have spiraled away. When Profek got caught up there in heaven, it felt like the floodgates opened, right? But no, shut again, very well handled. Now, this gets put onto the kind of coaching staff and how Liquid can make their minds up of how they want to deal with this. Now, it does feel as though, obviously, BBL's comp is mostly complementary on the defending side, but you need a bit more than one.
No, I think you really, well, dare I say, you aim towards getting, you know, 3 or 4 on the board, which now seems like they have to move mountains to achieve. How the opening 6 have panned out. Again, this first full ult cycle kind of coming a little late for Liquid, but also it's not really rounds that you'd say, you know, you're expecting Liquid to put a set piece in motion because they just can't early on. There's so many obstacles for them to overcome.
It's a lot of presence heard in middle, and a lot of pressure on Magnum, but he's been playing this well, actually. And again, Magnum kind of returning to glory has been something that I don't think we can understate here. You know, a lot of people thinking maybe his time in the sun had dimmed, but his recent performances with BBL have been magnificent. Now, This time around, though, we focus on what Liquid can achieve here. 5 together, looks simplistic, and that paranoia is stunning. Really well handled by Profek. Does he get caught by Kiko, though? That is the question. However, it's sociable from up on towards the rafters. Well maintained, Serial, trying to get a little bit dangerous here. And the spray doesn't quite get the target. This is still game on. This is a big ult invested, Mike.
Sociable almost locked out from using his res as well, but actually Levin and Magnum both find kills. Nats will fall as well. And it's 6 on the board here for BBL.
2 ults used there, Mike. 2 big boys as well. Bloody hell. I'm a little lost for words at how well prepared. Again, this was something we were talking about at the start of the day, right? Before we even got to cast, it was like, well, you know, if they're going to go for split, they've got to have antied it. But we were like, okay, let's compare it to the foot game,
yeah, the
right?
concern would have been if there wasn't a comp change and feeling as if the same thing was going to work versus Liquid, because there's 2 very different approaches between Liquid and Foot to split.
Absolutely.
And like I said, Foot were basically, it was almost like BBL had their playbook.
Yes, on the table, left open. And to see this have repetition is just terrifying. And I'm sure it's a little bit unnerving for Liquid, because this was meant to be the comfort. You win map 1, you're thinking, oh, maybe we're away with a 2-0 here. But at a 6-1, you're certainly now locked back in. Now Liquid still have a couple of ults. They've got the Divide to play with, and they've still got camos here. So there's options. But Kiko, with that attack inside operator, is going to have to do some serious work with that.
Yeah. Starting to see the adjustment now from Liquid, keen to deal with the utility as early as possible to remove some of that security from BBL. Again, there's so many layers to this.
They seem so aware. Magnum's been bang on with this. And once again, this has to add to the protocol list, right? But you can see Yampi complimenting.
It's so beautiful.
I am blown away by this. It's layer upon layer. You think maybe you've got the solution on the first. Get rid of that deadlock util. Then you still got layers of Yampi coming in to punish. And Sociable. I was going to be a bit worried he was fighting with that res, but in reality, he's fine. Liquid do not have an answer. It's simple. It's as clear as day. They have not found a solution. They can't break through vents. They can't have that singular lurk. They need someone to come up with a miracle soon enough.
Looking to apply more pressure here as well. Levin punished for it. Nats will find one as well.
Excuse me? I mean, time.
Can't get there with the spike. I was going to say if Nats had the spike, but unfortunately not doable. Magnum just has to sit this one out.
Clutch. I do
Will
not
be,
break.
well, call it a Red Bull clutch.
Call it a clutch.
Yeah. For BBL to find their 7th.
And I love the juxtaposition then between kind of Nats and Yampi, right? You've got Yampi on a real all-time high. This has got to feel so good. It's all good in theory, right? You can go there, think you've done your anti-strat, think you feel good about it, got a plan in mind. To see it in motion so perfectly is unbelievable. And for Nats, I'm sure this is incredibly frustrating. This is a very hard puzzle. Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit, yeah.
Let's not throw this one away. We're 7-1, guys. You don't get that against Liquid in a game like this. You gotta keep your head about you. Yeah, God.
They're in
Contextually.
uncharted territory right now. Liquid back down on a broken purchase. Sheriffs to round this out. Sociable remaining pretty active around the map, switching up this wall time and time again. Again, concern being that Liquid can't really figure out some of the setups behind. There's not really clear indicators for them.
This feels tense, though. They've made it up here. This is the first time they're really kind of testing ramp, I guess, this side of things. And it feels like an inverse of the round, clearing through vents the other side. This could be the answer.
I was going to say the awareness seemingly there, but actually Sociable falls to Kiko. And he did actually drift a little further back, but it's big info that Levin finds nothing in B main.
Oh!
Wow.
Kiko?
Should have been.
I'm still a little bit worried here. This is exceptional from Liquid. There we go. There is the path made, Mike. It felt like it was all over the shot. It felt like a reversal of a round almost.
Yeah. Take
up through ramp, dip through the vents, and then punish the player in towards mail, I guess, but it works wonders.
That's what they've got to do. It seems a rough objective to set is to catch BBL off guard with a composition like this. Like I said, Levin, you got to feel like he has a lot of space to play with him. Maybe it's the TP from Profek that keeps him just at the edge of B main. Yeah, the second on the board.
Now, it feels like BBL's aware that there was maybe a fault towards ramp, but that looks like it's being closed again. Ooh, a little mouse wheel jump there, gonna catch Yampy on the back pedal, but I feel like he was dead anyway. Camo on the clear and Magnum alone, but he's gonna capture one. Palitek on the other side would love to save his teammate, but this is looking like it might be lost. Camo's dead. He's been snatched away, down to a 3v3, and the support system doesn't work. He couldn't get through the vents this time, Kiko. Palitek and Serial can't do the reverse anymore. Looking for the C's, and Magnum looking to be dragged into their eyesight. But Magnum's still alive. The res gonna come through. Yampy back up on his feet. Quickly put back down. Dead again. Sociable on the spray, leaving just Serial in a 1v3 here. Can't get past the starting blocks. BBL instantly on the reply.
That's the problem. Try and get aggressive against this composition. You will be punished. A really awkward timing here for Nats to drop the wall. Whether or not the call there was to maybe show us 3. Yeah, it's just almost out in no man's land here. Rough really for anybody else from Liquid to
Nice!
counterbalance that. The guttural nice coming from Magnum, yeah.
And double timeout, right? This is all in on one half.
Well, understandably so, yeah. They've got to feel semi-confident about the second half, potentially in terms of their approach, but certainly not in terms of the scoreline. Like I said, you're looking for potentially another round or 2 from Liquid to make this feasible. Look at BBL repeat a 10-2.
God. I'm just blown away. Really am. I think a lot of us, when we look bigger picture, would, I don't say prefer, but you can see the validity in Liquid going international, right? BBL,
sure, yeah,
Uncharted.
It's an unknown. It really is.
If they're bringing out antis like this and creativity like this, I can't help but be impressed. I think anyone who enjoys Val has got to be impressed by this. And you can't say they don't deserve it. Bloody hell have they run that lower bracket. They've put in the work here. But Liquid, there's still... If they win this, it's not ideal, but it's possible. Maybe. Maybe.
Cutting
Say
through.
that with no confidence.
Serial's ultimate, I think actually maybe a shift of focus here. Camo.
He's been caught.
Again, the problem being there's so many things to separate the front line of Liquid from the rest of the pack. So you've got to be so cautious.
No
It's
surprise.
just Magnum
Some
up
of these
here.
more aggressive rounds.
This is tough for him. As much as Yampy is nearby, this is still kind of in Magnum's hands. And he's been, I mean, he has been really marvelous at doing this. Now we see the support system kind of shuffling a little bit. The amount of guns firing, it's going to keep Yampy here. Damaged up, that's huge from Kiko. That could be the goer, but still slowed down high. So
What?
wow, you don't see that every day. Nats, frustration showing.
Both seemingly lost on
Yeah,
the timing of the
like-
wall dropping.
Well, here we are. And as you said, agents were not used to seeing, and Kiko just hoping he had the corner. It's not to be. BBL still unfazed, still unmoved, and Liquid still held by ramp. There's been no solution in sight. Levin's still up here. The boombot should show. Gives away presence, and he fancies it. The flash didn't quite make it through the smoke, though. So doesn't get the fight he wanted. Got to maintain discipline here. We heard it before from Yampy. Nothing's a given at this point. Serial and Palitek, we saw what they did before, and are they doing it again? Sociable will find Serial. Is it all down to Palitek? Very hard angles to clear. He can't do it. Big round from Sociable. And a big scoreline for BBL.
It's rough to see Nats fall in that sort of manner, but like I said, neither of them seemingly reading the wall cracking. You can see immediately on the player react, it's almost like, yeah, here's what it is. Profek able to hide away from this reveal as well. Big moment for him to come alive, but it's Sociable with 4. Sit at 12 and 5 on the Sage. Going to round 12 here. Finally, Divide being invested. It's off rip. So maybe sell something or put something in motion towards mid.
But with that deeper position coming out, and they see no further pressure even behind that kind of, attempt to break in the wall, this puts Magnum on red alert, right? Like, he's got to know there's a chance they've walked mid. He's depending on that util to give it away if they do come up.
This has constantly been a problem, though.
It absolutely has, and with the support from Yampi, he's been generally very good on that second layer, but Magnum are once again surrounded. He's in a really tough spot here. How much can one man do? He has been marvelous, and from CT, it's stunning! Levin with 2 massive kills! And Kiko can't find a target! They've already gone away! There's no one to connect to as Serial down low on 14 HP. And 4 standing for BBL. This is looking like it's all but over. Kiko would have to become the hero of the hour. And he can't get past the start. 10-2. A magnificent scoreline here for BBL. This has been brilliant to watch, Mike.
Another clinic put on by BBL. I'm so impressed with the way they're able to employ this composition on defense, and Liquid, unfortunately, just unable to chip away and find enough answers.
I'm absolutely stunned, Mike. I can't wait to see how the second half plays out, but BBL have done everything we asked of them. It's a clear, decisive answer on this first half. Let's find out if they can close it in the second. Oh, 10-2. Now, if you hadn't been paying attention, you might think that we've got the wrong team on the wrong side, or you wouldn't believe the comps that have come out
back
here.
in time, playing versus Foot again.
Yeah, it's 10-2 though, Mike. It has been brilliant from BBL. Now, we know that there are, I wouldn't say faults, but a downside to this sort of composition on the attacking side. It becomes much harder to bring in.
Well, yes, but I mean...
10 rounds, you're pretty...
10 rounds,
you've done the work.
You're still feeling pretty good, and if BBL can get themselves to a post-plant scenario, they have so much to lock it down.
And I think we don't need to stress the importance of Team Liquid picking up this pistol. If you want to have a map here, it starts with this. And they were good on map 1 with them. Need a bit more of that in map 2.
So it looks as if we're going to lean straight towards a set piece here onto B. Testing Liquid off the bat here. They're out here early.
And if they've been slowed down, you can see the success of BBL here. Nats is still up there, but the fight's been won. That was... Everyone flood through the heaven smoke and hope for the best. Patatek. Okay, Yampi's on 36. Magnum, 42. But Profec's sitting healthy. And that access point through heaven gets denied, and you can already see the post-plant setup. It feels like you've got to fight them early almost. Don't allow them into those post-plants. That's where it becomes strong. Maybe. That's why they were so encouraged to flood through. But Patatek now, he hears it, and it's probably not what you want to be hearing. Time is starting to dwindle. He's got the horn. Oh, God, look at it. It's just so all-consuming. Layer after layer, standing there with a grin. BBL, they have done so well here. I can't stress it enough.
Yeah, and you can see now that the value of that prep on display fully. Yeah, it's just all-encompassing here. I mean, even if they wanted to burst out here, they're caught by the slow orb. It's just off camera from what we saw in the round, but there's just no way in for Liquid early on for this pre-take to try and flood out. Lovely pistol round, and might even just open the floodgates here to continue applying pressure towards B.
I don't even want to start having to talk about pressure, because you just, I mean, potentially going to be blown out of a map. They forced up here, right? You're about to get absolutely smacked about in map 2, and then you got Fracture coming up. And we've already seen that Liquid looked a little stressed at times. It puts all that pressure back onto their shoulders, but for now...
Kiko did, yeah, he did just spot. Oh! Well, not on the second peak.
First you saw him, second he's dead. Brilliant from Kiko.
There've not been many early wins for Liquid. Can do now one to the good. Very cautious on approach here from BBL, rightfully so. Don't want to give Liquid any room to breathe.
Hello. Camo.
Moment there, yeah, Camo.
Yeah.
Better of the scope.
This is nice. Well, they could do with a couple of these. This is, you know, this is small steps on a long journey, but it's one they need to take. And they're certainly not across the line yet. BBL still with 3 players looking for a player to punish here. Yampy on a solo adventure towards B. You can see the other 2 wrapping through spawn. I like this. Again, you got to kind of play out of the odds here. Ah, they've missed that opportunity. Levin couldn't quite find the shot he wanted, so it's time to try and force towards that A site. But time, it's 13 seconds. Camo on the pre-fire is perfect.
Scary.
Yeah, this should be okay. It is. Nats then making the spike drop, going to make Yampy just too far away. They can do the dance all day, it doesn't matter. Time was the end goal there, and Liquid survive.
So will actually retrieve the rifle as well. Yeah, one back on the... that was actually on the second. I didn't spot it on the second there, but Kiko, beautiful punish onto Profek. Said a little dicey once these stingers are able to tuck into a position, do some damage late on. See how BBL can shrug that off. Went in here with just the one Sheriff in the hands of Levin.
Obscuring vision.
Not the scenario you want to see a Guardian, actually. Pretty committed up close.
He doesn't really have a way out of here. He's just hoping that, yeah, okay, supporting utility buys him some security. Sociable has slipped through a little. How much he's going to be able to get from this? Maybe some good info. But Serial stuck around here. Even in all that stall with the smoke still up, he's decided he wanted to commit. Camo's going to catch Sociable. So it does feel like they're just kind of walking the map, getting a feel of it. They've got rounds to play with. So why not try and get as much information as you can?
Absolutely. Testing the water here. Liquid find their third. And really for them, you want to see them hold on to every single one of these weapons. So if they can get themselves a bit of a buffer, and things do descend into madness, get a little scrappier, building back into a comeback here, you don't want to be worrying about the finances. Atitech finally pins down Yampy on the first, clean on the second, and Profek not able to get away with that TP. Just Magnum left, classic in hand, 76 HP. I was going to say no more than Nat, but
yeah,
Nat's quick on the trade here. Liquid will find their fourth. Long road ahead of them, Lauren.
It is, no mistakes. That's the simplicity of it, right? 11 rounds has been marked on the board. That is the margin of error that they can have, is pretty much what? 2 rounds, that's it. Now we know that Liquid can be capable. That first half was probably a fright. It was a brutal wake-up call. But here, good step.
Yo, lock in, because...
Yeah, I wonder how the second half of that sentence went.
Liquid do have Camo's ult here. Yampy's got his, and they've been generally pretty spot on. It should have won them the site, as Levin does get free access. That second layer to it also now approaching freely.
Will go up nice and early as well, inside the smoke. We're locked out of this for the time being. Camo's ultimate available, but nothing else here. But tons of utility at their disposal.
They put so much pressure, though, on Liquid to keep this faultless, and it is good. That's a great start. Take away Magnum, that's the back line. Now Profek up next. Good util to put him under pressure. Gets cleared. Nat's doing well. Striding back in. It's all looking stunning. Team Liquid now locking in. Clean rounds. Only losing 1 now in the last 2 here. Yeah. This is exactly what they needed. 5 now found.
Absolutely what you want to see if you're a Liquid fan. Looking very composed, not thrown off kilter.
Nope.
By a pacey execution here towards A. Reinforcing. And that's, yeah, gap here, that's
what it was.
didn't catch that.
No.
That's why Magnum's just not expecting this at all.
Wow.
One enemy remaining.
I think Magnum, you left the gap by the window.
Just in case you didn't know. I think Magnum probably realized pretty quickly.
He's made it down ramp.
Something's not right here.
How's he gotten me? But BBL instantly on the timeout. These 3 rounds have been enough. They don't like what they're seeing. Now, we know that Liquid burnt their first 2 in the first half. So this does actually give an opportunity now for Liquid to also check in, right? This is a good chance for them, maybe just to compound what's being said. And for the other side of BBL, they need to not let this get too far. Yes, they've got rounds to play with, but it does become, as much as I hate the whole round by round, we'll just play our own game. You've now had, what, 3 back-to-back, very clean, very focused up, no errors. It does start to become, it feels possible at that point.
Yeah.
And it's small, it's
And
5.
Especially in the previous round here where the Rolling Thunder's invested, it's one of the things that really is the catalyst to this composition outside of Levin on the showstopper potentially, or any other round with the satchels. But like I said, the objective for them is just to get into a post-plant situation. You have to feel. It will only bring a Bulldog in here. Sheriffs across the board elsewhere. Nats does have the pip.
No escape.
I mean, same kind of opportunities around Sociable and Magnum on the attack, yes, but certainly stalling out in some of these rounds doesn't really benefit BBL too much.
Profek looking
Profek,
readable.
Yeah, noted previously, so.
Yeah. Simple stuff here. These are good signs for Liquid. Very good signs. Leading from the front, Nats. Lovely from him. Yeah, really clean. Liquid doing what they need. It is track by track, step by step. The gap closes. The buy is now back in for BBL.
A little bit away from some of these key ultimates here. Said not expecting them
Enemy remaining.
to come out swinging once again. Didn't see the stat pop up earlier. BBL with the, I believe it was the fastest time to plant the spike on their attacking side. This composition doesn't scream pace.
Nope.
Throwing net.
Speaking of pace, though, this looks like it's very much all in. BBL fancying their go up towards ramp. We saw that being the destination for Liquid. Mostly the final destination. Didn't go too well, but we got Nat and we got Patatek now holding it down. And it's already going to be Patatek holding that line. Beautifully set into motion by Nat's utility. This is great stuff from them. Sociable trying to find anyone, but he's not being gifted much here. Liquid all too aware. And they even know about that position.
Nobody entertaining the peek onto site either. They're happy to now just rely on the numbers. Well, maybe ahead of some of these cooldowns, potentially in the retake. Do have Patatek's ultimate to rely on as well.
Shadows.
Paranoia still here for Profek, though.
They need a pick, though, it feels
Yeah,
like,
they do.
right?
They definitely do.
And Liquid are playing super disciplined, which I love. It's that kind of idea of knowing BBL would desperately love a pick here, you know, an untradeable kill. That's the dream. Now they're stacking up to... Oh my god, Sociable. Oh!
Thank God for that.
Yeah, it felt like he could have done some serious damage here, but in reality, this has slowed the roll. It wasn't a clean enough pick. Still 4 players against the 2. Can Profek and Yampi become the heroes of the day for BBL? That's not sharp enough. And Yampi, he's desperately trying, but 14 HP ain't gonna stop him. Team Liquid, another now 7 rounds. It was only 2 at the start of this. And was 2 gonna be enough?
It's another tick in the box as well for composure. And able to take a breather here. Early win out in terms of focus towards ramp here, but Patatek, sorry, punishing this choke point. I mean, a dicey moment here where Sociable drifts through.
Yeah, there was a world.
Oh.
There was a world.
Whoa! Let's go!
That's 5 now. 5 back-to-back. Still a bye for BBL.
Right there.
And it looks like rinse and repeat, right? This looks like, look, just throw it at the wall until it sticks and hope for the best, but the gap is closing. Panatek gonna call in for support. We've seen that him and Nats have been coming together really well. Lovely synergy. They can't disrespect this Viper util they've been trying before. And once again, rinse and repeat. This time, Sociable 11 though, hit the shots. Nats does not want to allow access here at all. Magnum on the res, back up on his feet, but barely. Pops in the ult, doesn't get what he wants. It's getting messy, but Profek dives up towards heaven. Gets down 2, leaving Serial in the 1v4. BBL finally make it stick.
Almost feels like they're playing mind games here with Liquid. Not expecting them to run through, fully commit towards this A-take once again. But the utility is just beautiful from BBL. Nats tries to swing things back in their favor with the pit, but 2 beautiful kills from Profek.
Nice! Stop it! Nice!
To swing this back in their favor. And now on 12.
God, right on that verge here, taking us to the 3rd map.
Throwing net.
Fighting for that final ticket to Toronto. You want to see it go fracture. You want to see them brought to their limits. But BBL, that was a break in what was the monotony almost of Liquid, just round by round, polishing. And Serial can land it in time. Levin gets to live. Nats has fallen. BBL on the verge, doing the damage. Panatek last one alive. And that run back might just be crushed.
Spike planted.
And that map 3 becomes a reality. As BBL doing the unthinkable. Panatek steps forward, he faces his fate. BBL are taking us the distance. Magnificent preparation here on Split, and they execute it just as we'd want.